Yes, here we are. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, it is playing for Good Game Gaming, the blue Protoss, representing China. It is Cyan.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Inside and Out, we have the Chinese Terran player himself representing Invictus Gaming, IG. It is XY.
Yes, and here we go. A very important best of three for these two players getting into the meat of the competition now. And I don't think either of these players will be wanting to take any big risks starting out this best of three, but you never know.
Yeah, exactly. For those of you who were not here with us yesterday, Cyan did go up in a PvP against Jeshi, where he did end up getting taken down in the end. Likewise, XY ended up in a TVT against Coffee, and he also kind of met his end there as well.
Yeah, I did manage to catch that TVT, and that was a very impressive performance coming out of Coffee. So definitely no shame going down in that one, but we hope that XY has brought his A game today because he's going to need it going up against the likes of Cyan. Cyan, one of the Protosses that has been one of the premier players in the region historically.
Oh yeah, he's one of the big dogs. Also, my mistake, it wasn't Jeshi, it was Firefly that he fell to yesterday. Look, there's a lot of Protoss players in China, okay? There's no Zergs, papi, there's no Zergs.
Yeah, that's how we want it.
No. Oh god, but you're right, like Cyan, he's arguably has been one of, if not the best Protoss player in the entire region. He's even been able to take down Time on occasion in these DreamHack circuit runs, so for him to be here in an elimination match, I don't think many people foresaw that happening.
Yeah, for sure. And for these two players to be going down to the elimination, yeah, like you're saying, a little bit of a surprise because these are players that we've seen in the region time and time again. But meanwhile, we do have a pretty normal opening coming out from both players. We see a Marine into Reactor for XY. This is a very standard build, something that we saw a lot in the meta in the last 6 months, but a little bit more recently we've been seeing players open Reaper more often. This, however, will allow him to get a few extra Marines a little bit earlier with the shorter build time on the Marine.
Yeah, exactly. Marines are already being pumped out one after the other. Meanwhile, Cyan was able to delay that CC. He didn't get eyes on it being built, but he can take he can make an assumption of that. He's going to go in with his adept, and he will confirm. Okay, we do have a CC on the low ground. We do at least have continued Marine production.
Yeah, he will just be sending that shade in really quickly, and back at home, just starting up the Twilight Council, so everything looking pretty standard for him. Meanwhile, on the side of XY, we are getting a Hellion started up to start off with, so this can be used by itself for a little scouting, or he can even build up a few and go for a bit of an attack here.
Yeah, we'll see what he decides to go for with this. It looks like we only have a single Hellion for the time being. Interesting choice to only make one, as it looks like, oh, he's going to be using it for a little bit of scouting information as well as it zooms on past. It does get scouted here by Cyan, as he is going to be forced back a little bit here. He doesn't want to lose too much here to this one Hellion.
Yeah, and Cyan doesn't really want to let this Hellion get in for a scout if he can help it, so he will be moving to intercept with these adept shades, and that will send this Hellion away, so no scouting at all for XY at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Looking at XY's vision, he hasn't gone into the main base at all. There was no SCV scout. He, of course, skipped his Reaper as well. He is in the dark, and he's going to have to be relying on this drop for scouting.
Yeah, that's right. So he does have a 2-mine drop coming out here, and that will be the first that he gets to see of the side of Cyan. So he will be hoping just to scrape by that third as well to get an eye on whether Cyan has taken that yet. So hopefully he will just catch the corner of that as he goes through.
Yeah, exactly. Again, there's so much riding on this medevac, not just to deal damage, but also to get scouting information. Meanwhile, immediately Cyan, he responds. He does notice that on the minimap, we do see the Stalkers already moving in position here to try and intercept.
Yeah, Cyan has been so on top of things with his unit movements so far, and that will just force XY to sit that medevac over in the dead space. Not really any safe dead space over next to that natural base, so this is where he's going to have to leave the medevac for now.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like Cyan's even looking forward here with a probe, probably going to throw down a spotter pylon if he so chooses, just to try and get eyes on this as another pylon finishes up as well. Again, the scouting here from Cyan is insane, and now he's free to be active once again with his adepts to just keep an eye on what exactly is happening across the map.
Yeah, and what is happening across the map is just a standard Raven opener 3-1-1 coming out from XY. So this will give him the opportunity to go for a little bit of a stim combat shield timings, maybe with +1 as well. Once that all hits together with the 2 medevacs, he can look to move across the map.
Yeah, he can hit a pretty strong timing here. Quickly looking at Cyan's vision, he actually didn't see the eBay behind the natural base either. He is in the dark when it comes to whether or not there's a third base. Until now, as the observer is going to sneak on into the main base and see all of the production.
Yeah, and some pretty interesting unit positioning coming out from XY, actually sitting all of his Marines outside the third here, so possibly looking to trap these Stalkers, but they can just blink straight in.
Yeah, they blink all the way to the main base. Looks like they can pick off one Marauder for their troubles. The army is rotating here to try and meet him. We do see an auto turret being thrown down. The observer gets sniped.
Yeah, that's right. And XY does have the opportunity here, if he so chooses, to try to surround these Stalkers, but looks like he was a little bit slow on that one. He's going to be losing a mine for his troubles, as well as the reactor on the starport.
Oh, exactly. Reactor goes down. Meanwhile, it looks like a couple of Marines are going to get picked off as well. Not too many Stalkers here for Cyan, so he's not going to be able to deal too much damage, but ooh, we are going to get a bit of a pause. I did notice a little bit of latency there.
Yeah, I noticed a little bit of lag as well, so we'll just give the players as much time as they need just to get that sorted out. It's not me. I do have 500 ping, so hopefully it's not me.
Ooh, I have 230. Oh boy. I'm also hoping that do we have a referee, or is our lovely admin the referee here? Do you have... Okay. I'll count us in, yeah?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I don't know what the unpause button is. Oh, good. Alright, we're good. Jesus.
Alright, so back into this game, we do have the 2 players skirmishing back and forth. Gonna have to be really careful on the side of XY not to let this Raven drift too far ahead of his own units.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Doesn't want to let that happen here, as all the Stalkers are going to dip on forward. Once again, just chipping away at whatever Marines they can. Also really important that we don't have any latency during this time, because the armies are dancing with each other. And so far, XY hasn't lost too much. At least he didn't allow that medevac or that Raven to stray too far forward. Ooh.
Yeah, and I like this tank positioning as well by XY, just trying to bait out the Stalkers a little bit. And now he does have the opportunity to move across the map, but Cyan has got this side covered as well. This is some beautiful unit movement coming out from Cyan.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, just pulling his opponent apart a little bit here as the army is being drawn into the center of the map. At the same time, we do have a couple of Stalkers catching some reinforcements. 2 Marines are going to go down.
Yeah, and every Marine with pushes like this doesn't matter. So Cyan being able to cut off this reinforce is really important, and is even going to be able to take out a couple of these SCVs.
Yeah, a couple of SCVs go down. He also gets confirmation of a 3rd CC on the way here. Meanwhile, across the map, Cyan, he is going to be recalling every unit he has. Does he have enough, though? Because, again, +1 is done. I believe we do have Stim, Combat Shields, and Concussive Shell, but we only have a single tank.
Yeah, that's right. But we do have only the 2nd Colossus popping just now, and XY himself not too far off that 2nd interference matrix.
Yeah, exactly. That Raven has been banking up that energy and has a lot of potential here to shut down those Colossi, depending on the positioning, depending on whether or not he can get those matrices off. Meanwhile, we do see XY actually unsieging and backing off.
Yeah, XY throwing down a couple extra scans there. He's going to think wise of this. Meanwhile, for Cyan, a little bit of a counterattack here with the Zealots. He's going to delay XY taking his 3rd base here.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Zealots, they do delay that 3rd base, force the boys off the line. At the same time, XY is pushing on forward. He's going to be able to siege up between these bases and actually sneak into the natural.
Yeah, but at the same time, that allows Cyan to get this huge surround here, and Cyan sending the Zealots straight on top of the tanks. Both tanks going down immediately. We do see both interference matrices on the Colossus, though.
Yeah, exactly. So both tanks go down in a couple of moments. The Colossi are going to be available once again, and I feel like XY came out a little bit worse for wear in that engagement, but he has to commit. He has to keep on pushing forward. A 3rd Colossus comes out.
Yeah, 3rd Colossus coming out, but worse for wear is a bit of an understatement. 27 SCVs going down, so XY, he has to do damage here.
He really does have to do damage, and GG gets called. Cyan defends beautifully, counterattacks, and takes the 1st game.
Yeah, that was a masterclass of PvT coming out from Cyan there. All his unit positioning, everything down to the little squad of Stalkers cutting off that reinforcement added up to get him the win in that one.
Oh yeah, exactly. That was just really well done from Cyan. I was really impressed with how adept he was at keeping up with all of the attempted scouting from his opponent and just shutting that down completely. So XY, like, not without trying, he was kind of in the dark for quite a lot of that.
Yeah, absolutely. There was just units all over the map for Cyan. Nothing really went unscouted. Even setting up the spotter pylons either side of that mine drop once it got trapped in the corner, there was nowhere for XY to go where he wasn't under the constant scrutiny of Cyan.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was so difficult to pull that off, especially when we were talking about a really like committed two-base timing, right? Where it's designed to deal damage. Like, I don't blame him for taking the opportunity when he did to try and push himself up into that natural base. Unfortunately, maybe again due to lack of some vision and scouting information, he didn't know that there was part of the army over on the left-hand side and even behind him as well, that he was about to be surrounded.
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of felt forced from all the damage that he was taking from the Zealots to shove in and see if he could just end the game, because to be honest, I don't think there was any way back into that going slowly. So I understand his decision, but yeah, just very good play all around by Cyan.
Yeah, very good play indeed. And with that, Cyan is going to be taking the first game here in this series. Oh, I should probably update that here on the screen. But he does take the first game and is one game away from moving on to that decider match. Scary thing here in these groups of DreamHack is that these are not best of fives. They're only best of threes. Yeah,
which means that everything comes down to these next two maps. XY will be fighting for his life twice in a row. And we do have the first, this next game coming up on Moondance. And honestly, Moondance is a pretty dangerous game to have to win a best of one on, because there's a lot of opportunities for some weird strategies with that back base.
Oh yeah, exactly. You know, when it comes to that back base, you can use it to be a little bit more greedy, a little bit more economic focus. At the same time, we haven't seen it in a long time, but you know, why not in DreamHack China? I would personally love to see a return to a return to something like the proxy Stargate. You know, I'm disgusting like that.
Right. Some of me would love it because it would make for a good game for sure, but the Terran inside me, it would hurt. It would hurt a little bit.
yeah, I understand. Oh my god. So yeah, we are just getting the lobby ready here for our second game, just kind of trying to figure out how this is going to go. I think the other interesting thing, and I don't mind sharing this information with everyone, is that game 3 is going to be on Stargazers as well. So very, very odd and interesting like map picks here from our players.
Wow, yeah, absolutely. Some pretty interesting map picks there, especially considering if I had to pick the two worst maps in the pool for defending 4-gate Blink, I would probably pick Moondance and Stargazers. Both maps do have very difficult to cover mains, very large mains where the Stalkers can rotate all the way around the outside, and they can be a bit of a nightmare to defend Blink Stalker attacks on, but maybe that comes into the mind games of how XY has chosen the maps.
Yeah, like I'm sure he should be aware of that, so maybe he wants to try and bait that kind of play style from his opponent and work around that. It's definitely possible. You know, mind games can always come into play, especially with these players, these regional players who have a lot of experience with each other. At least I would hope that that's the case, because as you said, like, there's a reason why we don't see these maps too often.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing that comes into factor with Moondance as well is it's such a short rush distance. So maybe that's one of the reasons XY does prefer it, because you can get that push across the map so much faster than, say, on a map like Data Sea, on a map like Tropical Sacrifice.
True. That's another thing to bear in mind, right? The rush distance, despite the fact that we do have a much faster, or potentially a much faster third base to be taken, much faster fourth base. You know, we can also see some rushes as well. So I guess shout out to the map makers for kind of creating those features here for Moondance. Yeah, it allows for a lot of different options.
Yeah, so, like,
go on.
What do you think the chances are of a proxy DT shrine in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, like in the
proxy,
not the corner that doesn't have the bases in it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Proxy DT shrine and the TC as well.
Well, like, the thing is, when I think of Cyan, I don't think of him as like the cheesiest player, you know. Like, I I don't think of like even a Firefly can be a little bit more aggressive at times. So like do I think that he'll go for it? I think there's a higher chance that he'll go for a Proxy Dark Shrine than Proxy Stargate in the pocket base. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Okay.
Do I want it? Hell yeah. Mate, he's up 1-0. Why not? You know, you're like, mate, it's the elimination match. He's up against the wall. You know, he's got to take this very seriously. He can't mess up. It's like true, but at the same time, like, you know, he's style
Proxy
points.
everything. Good games for the fans.
Proxy everything, papi, everything. Ay.
But meanwhile, just a little bit of a delay getting into this game. I'm sure the players will appreciate having a little bit of time to catch their breath, get their thoughts, get ready for this next game.
Yeah. It's one of those things where
it is one of those things.
sorry.
I have to agree with that.
Unfortunately, we're experiencing a little bit of a lobby bug, which is quite common here in StarCraft. So we're just trying to make sure everyone can join here, and we can actually start our game, making sure that we have our lovely admins, the observers, the casters, all that good stuff. Oh god,
this game of ours is it's well loved.
Yes,
Used.
It's well loved, well used. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Oh god. But we're just getting confirmation. Okay, we can begin as soon as our players are ready and dive into our second game. They have had this extra moment, this extra time here to prepare themselves, to prepare their bodies for game 2.
Indeed. And we do have one player ready to go, and we are almost good to go with this one.
Also, hold on.
What else could that be?
You've been spinning this narrative, okay? You've been like, okay, look, you double down, okay?
What have I been doing? Tell me what I've been doing.
The propaganda, mate. You're trying to say that, look, if anyone's gonna do anything crazy, it's gonna be the Protoss. But we all know how disgusting Terran can be, okay? And look, would XY I would love for him, especially on Moondance. Pull a Honwano, right? 2 base.
One base.
For
One base stim. Pull the boys.
Pull the boys, mate.
Bring the CC. Float the CC. Bring it too. We're going all in.
There you go. Look, I'm just saying, it could work. It could work.
But here we go. We do finally have our game on the way, and we are loading in.
We are going to be...
Here we are. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, playing for Invictus Gaming. It is our Terran player in the red, up against it now with it all to get in this best of 3. It is XY.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Moondance, we have the Chinese Protoss player himself representing Good Game Gaming. GGG. It is Cyan.
And in a moment like this for XY, you have to think the nerves are coming to a bit of a head here. This is such an important game. This particular game as well. There's a lot of pressure on him here. What kind of play is he going to go for? Is he going to go for something a little bit more aggressive? Is he going to stick to his guns and just play, you know, the most comfortable standard build? But we do already see a second gas going down, so will be something a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, exactly. Here in the TVP matchup, if we see a second gas, that does signify that we're going to be seeing faster tech, not so much a natural base being taken, or, you know, it's going to be a little bit more delayed, a little bit more down the line here. So we shall see. Cyan already being a little bit paranoid, checking for proxies here over on the left-hand side of the map.
Yeah, it's Probe taking a bit of a meander, going for a little bit of an interesting route to see what's going on here, but he will eventually get over to the base of XY, get the scout in here, see that double gas as well, so he knows everything that's going on here.
Yeah, he's got all the information he needs. He's even going to be a little bit annoying and tase away at that SCV. We shouldn't be seeing a kill or anything like that, but again, just being an annoyance, forcing some more lost mine time, and there we do see that factory being thrown down.
Yeah, that's right. And he's just going to hang around just for an extra moment. So now he knows it is not a Marine. He knows it's a Reaper just because no unit has popped yet. So he will be safe to go home. But with his SUV tracking him, this probe is not long for this world.
Oh, exactly. The probe has been seen. The Reaper is on the way. XY is looking to hunt it down. At the same time, we see after that factory, a second Rax.
Wait, I've got my wish. It's a one-base build. He has not pulled off gas. This is going to be a one-base all-in coming out from XY.
Now, will I get my wish and will he pull the boys with it? That's the...
I mean, I think you have to.
You have to, right? There we go. A starport being thrown down as well, all off of one base. Meanwhile, across the map, XY tries to dip into the main base as well, but we see a full wall off here, so he's denied entry. So far, is a little bit unawares of the tech. Quickly checking his vision, he didn't check the natural. He has not seen the Stargate.
Yeah, very interesting position of this Stargate as well, just tucked away in the corner here, and we already see a battery going down for Cyan. So Cyan already realizing the potential for a bit of an aggressive play coming out from XY after seeing that double gas.
Yeah, we'll see how well he can read this situation here, whether or not he will decide to go for something a little bit more defensive, like something like a Void right here with the power of these shield batteries with the overcharge. Maybe would be ideal, but we'll see. For the time being, he does have these adepts. With this, he'll have the ability to go out across the map, but no, we have a Phoenix first.
Yeah, and rather interestingly, Cyan hasn't chosen to send those shades across the map, so he will not be getting eyes on the base of XY anytime soon, so he doesn't know yet that this is a one base all in.
Yeah, exactly. He is still in the dark right now. There we go. The Phoenix is going to be zooming across the map and finally get that scanning information. But you know what? The Marines are already starting to move on out, maybe even trying to intercept this first unit. But the Phoenix is able to avoid this and get into the main.
Yeah, these Marines going straight across the map, and this Phoenix, this is going to be the first that Cyan sees of what's going on, and he's going to see no natural, he's going to see all this production, and this is going to set alarms off in his head. He has to go full defense mode now. We immediately see 2 extra gateways going down.
Oh yeah, here we go. 2 more gateways going down. A second shield battery as well. Again, Cyan knows he just needs to pump out as many units as he can and hold the line. He does have the high ground advantage here at this ramp. Meanwhile, a bit of a drop here as well, ferrying over these tanks as they do get across the map as fast as possible.
Yeah, very aggressive build coming out from XY. This is something that I've seen Gumiho playing a little bit on this map as well, due to such a short rush distance, and we already see the tanks getting sieged up right on top of this front production for Cyans, and shelling away the shield battery.
There we go, the shield battery goes down immediately. The second shield battery is going to go down as well. The gateway is under fire. We do have a couple more gateways finishing up here in the main base, or just about to finish here, but again, this is eating into the production.
Yeah, and we see the shield battery overcharge has been used already by Cyan. It's going to buy him a little bit of time, but this does mean that XY is going to be able to jump in as soon as this expires.
Yeah, exactly, and it is going to expire now, and maybe it was a little bit premature. We do have even more Phoenixes coming out. Looks like they will shut down that medevac just barely. Oh my god, it survived the repair!
Oh, the clutch repair on these medevacs, and also XY targeting down some of these Phoenix. That does mean this front shield battery is going to go down, and this natural is forfeit, but XY, he is totally all in. He has to go into the main straight after this, and the defenses are starting to be mounted here by Cyan in the main.
There we go. 4 more gates on the way. A couple more pilots as well to avoid any kind of supply block. Some shield batteries for another overcharge in the main base. As you were saying, XY, he gets a natural, which is nice, but he needs more than this.
Yeah, that's right. We saw him making eBay as well, so he's going to be able to start making turrets to support these tanks, but one of the tanks being cut off from the reinforcement. It's very important that XY defends this.
Yeah, we'll see if he can get the tank in the end. Looks like it's going to cost him another one of those graviton beams. Meanwhile, at the same time, XY is trying to force his way up this ramp. The tanks are sieging on up. The reinforcing tank was sniped.
Yeah, the reinforcement's being cut off expertly by Cyan, but XY, he has to go now. He has to get in there before that second shield battery overcharge can be used, and I do wonder if we're lacking a little bit of urgency here.
Yeah, exactly. Like, these Marines, they're doing a great job, I guess, here to help maintain the position of these tanks, but they could be doing a little bit more, not gonna lie. Meanwhile, the Phoenixes are catching a couple more of these Marines here to reinforce. The gas geyser is going to go down, but Cyan has bought so much time.
Yeah, and meanwhile, we do have that charge on the way, and this is the timer for this push. If this charge finishes up, that will be the end of this push. These Marines without stim just cannot fight against charged zealots.
Exactly. We do have the overcharge being spent there to try and make sure that the bunker does not finish. We do have a second bunker on the way. I believe we are running out of SCVs here across the map, so we don't have too many of them, but oh, there we go. The SCV is going to get picked up.
Yeah, that's right. I love the way that he is doing this, though. I love these turrets next to the tanks that are going to protect them from Phoenix lifts. But the problem is, it only takes a few seconds of Phoenix List to get on top of these Marines here. And the Marines, they are the bulk of the DPS of XY's army. And I think with Charge finishing up here, this is Cyan's time to go, and go he does.
Yeah, there we go. It's go time. The tanks get lifted up one after the other. Charge shots, they get on top of the tanks as well. Marines are being forced all the way back towards a bunker, so it looks like they'll be able to hold the line outside the natural, but at the cost of 2 tanks.
Yeah, 2 tanks going down, so many Marines going down as well. We see a scam being thrown down so the tank can get some extra shots off, but honestly, Cyan has no obligation to break this low ground. He can take his time with this.
Yeah, he can't take his time. Oh my god, I thought it was in range of that tank, but here we go. The charge shots dive on in. The tank is going to go down. Sure, we have a bunker, but these are vanilla Marines, as you were saying. They don't have any upgrades whatsoever, and they don't have that much longevity.
Yeah, XY is microing his heart out, but Cyan, meanwhile, he's happy to trade units. He's happy to trade those Marines, those vanilla Marines, just to buy himself some extra time.
Oh yeah, but you know what? We have a couple of upgrades finishing up here. The game has gone on long enough. Would you have combat shields finishing up as well? But the tank will go down here. Nice target fire, though. It takes out all the stalkers.
Yeah, the Stalker's going down and the tank as well going down, but there's actually quite a few Marines here, and that combat shield, that's quite a significant boon to these Marines. But at the same time, from Cyan, I love this. Going for a counterattack with the Zealots, it's going to make it very difficult for XY to reinforce quickly. Might be able to get this tank as well, but no, it looks like XY is prepared.
Yeah, and we're in a really interesting place here where XY, he's expanding. He has recognized that he's dealt enough damage here. I mean, look at the worker counts as well. XY has a worker lead. He's expanding, he's taking another base. The upgrades are kicking in as well, so we can actually contend with those charge slots.
Yeah, I can't believe this, but XY, he is actually starting to stabilize his position, and Cyan, he went for these sentries hoping to force field off his ramp, but now he's realizing that he's the one that's going to have to do the damage.
Yeah, exactly, and it's not going to be enough damage. The bunker, sure, it's not even going to go down. GG gets called, and XY takes the game!
Mate, what a play! Going for the one base all in with everything on the line, and I thought things were done. I thought when those charge lots and that charge finished and he took out the 2 tanks at the ramp, I thought it was over for XY, but he managed to reinforce, get that combat shield up and going, and he gets the win. Wow.
I'm a little bit shocked. A slow and steady wins the race, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I 100% agree. I also thought that we maybe need a little bit more urgency, right? He didn't pull the boys. He was maybe even thinking of a longer game there, especially starting those upgrades as soon as he did. But yeah, that was just really methodical. You were pointing it out, right? Slowly sieging upon the base with bunkers, with turrets. It all slowly came into play. It all just barely traded efficiently enough.
Yeah, and very intelligent as well to go for that combat shields over the stim just to get that little bit of extra longevity against those Zealots. And honestly, the Marine count was what did it in the end. It wasn't even anything too crazy in the end in terms of the micro. It was just very good game knowledge, very good understanding of his position in the game, and that's how he got the win there. Very impressive game. I'm not going to leave anymore when my one base attack gets cleaned up. I've been inspired.
You should have never been doing this, mate. Terran Poppy, okay? What are you talking? What are you talking about? One base all in, mate. Just throw down a base behind it. That's all you gotta do. You know, it's that easy.
Yeah, just for free, man. For free.
For free. No, but a lot did come into play, right? We saw a massive investment into those Phoenixes, and time and time again, you know, we saw them being focused down one after the other. We saw that they weren't really getting the value that they needed. We saw some clutch repairs as well on tanks, on medevacs. Like, it was, yeah, really, really close.
Yeah, that is something I breezed over a little bit, but XY managing to take out so many of those Phoenix, they would have been able to go over across the map and start wreaking havoc on the reinforcements, taking out tanks, taking out medevacs, even taking out SEVs. And the fact that he was able to snipe so many Phoenix, both with his Marines when they were diving on that medevac, but he was repairing it to keep it alive, and with the turrets next to the tanks, that was such a crucial factor in this win.
It was incredibly crucial. And with that, we are now tied up 1-1. We are going into game number 3, the ace match. We were talking about it earlier. This is going to be on Stargazers.
Yeah, I'm so excited that we get to see an ace match between these two players, because these two games, they have been, they've been very good.
Oh my god, they have been insane, papi, insane. And oh boy, we'll see how this goes in the end here, as it all ends here, you know, game number 3. This is as far as we go. And I kind of came into this thinking that Cyan was the favorite, but XY, I wouldn't be surprised if he has something specifically planned for this map.
Yeah, especially seeing as he had such a special build prepared for Moondowns, which I presume he consciously let through these vetoes with that build in mind. I have to think that he's got a build specially prepared for this map as well. And some of the things that I do have in mind is with that short air rush distance, there might be some kind of tank drop that he has prepared or some kind of drop based build, even a 2-on-1. That is something that we've seen another Terran in the region Time go for sometimes in TVP.
Yeah, we have seen that as well. So something like a tank drop could work well. Or it could be a little bit too obvious, you know? Maybe we see something else. We haven't really seen too many players try and go for, I don't know, say even mining out the minerals at that pocket base or something, going for a more ground-based push. I don't know. I'm ready to be surprised.
Ready to be wowed and amazed. As we are loading up this game on Stargazers. Here we go. And it would be remiss not to mention as well, Cyan does have a lot of options in terms of harass as well. With that back base, with the minerals, there's so many things you can do. But before we get into that, here we are. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of the map, now 1-1 in this best of 3. It is the Blue Protoss playing for Good Game Gaming, GGG. It is Cyan.
Got it out of it. And spawning in, I didn't want to mention it, but you missed it in game 1. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Stargazers, we have the Chinese Terran player himself representing Invictus Gaming. IG, it is XY.
Man, I was almost off the team there. Would have been end of the cast, logging off at the end of cast, and I'd be like, did I do good? You'd be like, hand in your badge. You're done here.
What kind of team introductions were they? Shaking
Give me a gun and your badge.
Do we do things a certain way here in the Cranky Ducklings, Asher, okay? Aye. You're a loose cannon, mate. Loose cannon.
We have to put an end to him.
Gotta bring out the shout.
Well, speaking of putting an end, XY wanting to put an end to this probe that is being so annoying. A very early probe being sent out here. Cyan's had enough of his nonsense, wants to get a little bit of pressure across the map, but he will be trapped in here.
Oh yeah, the probe is stuck in said main base. Does confirm another 2-gas opener though, to be fair. So he's going to be stuck here and we'll be able to get confirmation of what production exactly is going to be thrown down, which can be pretty important as we saw last game. But this time XY going to be a little bit more aggressive here with his Reaper. Going to be able to clean it up and hopefully keep it hidden.
Yeah, but with that probe heading over there, he should be pretty sure, and he should be very sure now that it is a Reaper. At the same time, we do see XY has pulled off gas here, so he will be looking to expand. Won't be the same build that we saw in the last game, but he will have the opportunity to go for something like a faster mine drop if that is something that he's looking to do. There is even the potential with this factory position that he has here in the faster to go for a swap here, maybe get some reactor Hellions.
Oh, yeah, we could see some reacted Hellions, we can see some reacted mines. Here we go. You were talking about drop play earlier, and we have a pseudo proxy Stargate here in his own pocket base.
Yeah, very interesting. This is something that I've been seeing some players like Beyond going for on this map, where basically you're playing a proxy Hellion drop, but because of the features of this map, you can proxy the Stargate in your own backbase, and it does mean that your build will flow a little bit better coming out of this as well. So there's a lot of opportunity as well. There's also a lot of blind space behind the bases to drop off these Hellions.
Oh yeah, so much area to make use of here. Cyan is zooming across the map, and maybe he did take note of the fact that gases were being pulled off before the probe went down, but alas, we can see what was the real intentions here of XY. The Hellions already meeting these depths here in the middle of the map.
Yeah, so the Hellions have been shown. There should be a pretty good idea for Cyan of what is going on, and he is going for a Stargate build, going for Phoenix as well here, so he'll be very well prepared for this. But meanwhile, XY choosing to be very aggressive. He's just going to go straight in with the Hellions, not going to wait for the medevac at all.
Yeah, exactly, because you know what? There's layers, mate. There's layers to this build. There's layers to this plan. We have an armory being thrown down. We have a switch into Widow Mines, not Hellions. So the Hellions are a bit of a false flag. They're here to try and distract his opponent when really he wants to go for a mine drop. Oh no!
Yeah, I love this from XY, but Cyan, he's so on point with his scouting with these Phoenix, and he will get eyes on these mines. And if he hangs around long enough for the armory to finish, he's going to be able to see that red dot as well on top, signifying that they are permanently invisible mines.
Oh, exactly. So already he has a piece of the puzzle, at least. Another Hellion being picked up here in the middle of the map as well. The drop has been delayed by so much, and the armory has finished, and we still are not quite making use of it.
Yeah, I gotta say, I am so impressed with Cyan's sense of timing. He picks up that one Hellion, and he did have the opportunity to hang around a little bit longer to try and get more of them, but he immediately sends the Phoenix to go intercept the drop. He's keeping track of XY's units so well in this game.
Oh my god, but somehow XY threads the needle. These Phoenixes barely missed the drop entirely. They're headed over towards the left-hand side. Meanwhile, we have another drop being set up here as well. It looks like XY hasn't been found out until now.
Yeah, this drop will be intercepted here, and it has been a little bit bruised up. So this will reveal to Cyan as well that these are the permanently cloaked mines, and he's going to clean up everything here. But meanwhile, a drop heading into the main.
Drop is heading to the main base. It looks like they will burrow here in the mineral line, so at least some lost mine time will be caused. But, oh god, only one Widow Mine burrows. Oh,
Yeah,
not
actually,
even... Oh.
No Widow Mine's fully burrowed, and this is a real shame for XY because there is no detection for Cyan. Actually, I misspoke. There's an observer out already. This is flawless defense coming out from Cyan.
Actually, flawless. I thought that XY would at least borrow one, but no, he tried to pick up. He tried to get the hell out of there instead, and as a result, 4 mines and 2 medevacs have gone down, 0 damage.
Cyan hasn't even taken any damage on these Phoenix here. This is an incredible defense coming out from him, and this observer is even going to get eyes on these mines.
Wow.
So he hasn't lost anything here.
Oh my god. It's insane what Cyan has been able to do. Meanwhile, here come these Phoenixes. There we go. They're going to be able to pick off these Widow Mines as well due to that detection. At the same time, XY is still contained to these 2 bases. He is getting his natural up and running, and he still has he's still making more mines, by the way. Like he's got like, again, to be fair, if he ever gets one of these mines into a mineral line, it will kind of pay for itself, but that's not going to happen. Oh my god.
Yeah, this has been such great defense by Cyan. Cyan right on top of the SCVs now as well, can start to pick those off if he has the energy for the lifts, and more importantly, this means that he is keeping XY back on his side of the map, but we do see a Widow Mine drop finally getting in. Nope. Too good by Cyan. This is incredible defense.
Oh my god, finally! A Widow Mine shot goes off!
It takes out shields.
It takes out shields. I think it got 1 adept, right? Maybe, but if that's alas, it's still not quite worth it. We still have more Widow Mines, by the way. I appreciate the tenacity by XY. He is not stopping. He still pumps out nothing but mines, nothing but medevacs.
Yeah, I can understand wanting to go for the mines here because there's not many units at home, and the idea normally behind this opening is as you keep on pumping out one after another these Widow Mine drops, it keeps the Protoss player on their side of the map, but Cyan's defense has been so good that he can actually go across, but wow, the first mistake coming out from Cyan. Huge Widow Mine shots there.
There we go. All it takes sometimes is one, and XY, he gets so many shots off there on those Phoenixes. How many go down in the end? 4 Phoenixes go down. Is it enough though? Still not quite, but they can always reset, and he can finally find his way through these Phoenixes and get into a mineral line.
Yeah, but meanwhile, Cyan's progression in this game has been very comfortable. He has his 3 bases up and running. He's got his gateways coming up. He has his second Colossus, Thermal Lance on the way, even Charge on the way as well. So he's going to be very comfortably set up for any 2-base push that's coming his way. And it is a 2-base, 5 racks all in that is coming his way.
Yeah, exactly. The 5 racks are out here. XY doesn't really intend to go for a 3rd base anytime soon. But Cyan, as you were saying, is sitting so comfortably here, even setting himself up to take a 4th base if he needs to. The Colossus count getting higher and higher. We even have a 2nd Robo on the way for double disruptor production. The longer this goes on, the worse it's going to be. XY has to his timing sooner rather than later.
Yeah, this is such a rough position to be in as a Terran where you feel doomed if you do, doomed if you don't. You know that you can't let this game go on You have to go for the push here, but you know as well that Cyan, he's been so good with his map vision. He's been able to build up that Colossus count, and he's going to be more than prepared for this, even taking out a few of these mines as they try to waddle across the map.
3 more mines go down. Despite the Phoenix count almost getting reset, we have seen them replenished here for Cyan. He knows how much value they have, especially against XY. He knows his skill set. He's even able to camp the production.
Yeah, taking out these medevacs here would be huge. XY able to drag them back over the turrets, but that's not going to be enough. Both medevacs going down, and I'm scared to look at the units lost tab. There we go, almost double, more than double in the favor of Cyan here, but this Widowmine drop is getting in.
Oh, it is getting in. The recall was a little bit late. The reaction was a little bit late as well. 4 probes are going to go down, but again, like, the reaction was still good enough here for Cyan to just shut this down.
I want to remind everyone, that's the first probes that have gone down to, I think, 5 full medevacs of Widowmines.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane how solid the defense has been here for Cyan. And now he's moving out across the map. Now he has his Colossi up and running. We have +1. We have +2 on the horizon with Blink. And XY, to be fair, to give him credit, he is establishing a 3rd base, but can he hold on to it?
Yeah, he does recognize that that Fireaxe isn't going to work. Gets his 3rd base up and running, but he has a lot of units that he has to defend to. This is a very nice 3 Colossus timing coming out from Cyan, really barely delayed by the attacks of XY, and he's just going to be able to sit out the front until he's ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, personally, what I'm waiting for, as soon as I saw those 2 Robos, I thought we were going to see that transition into Disruptors. For the time being, just Colossi, just a Gateway Army. Instead, we'll still have those Phoenixes from the early game, and they can come in, and without the support of any turrets, without the support of the Marines, they can CC those tanks.
Yeah, these Thermal Lens Colossus are just going to siege up outside the base here and pick off anything that they can. They're going to start to get on top of those depots, get on top of these SCVs mining over here. We do see him just straying into tank fire there, but no whole damage on these Colossus just yet.
Yeah, only shield damage so far. Meanwhile, massive shout out to Cyan just for the vision. Despite being active, despite being aggressive, he has just eyes all over the map. He can see everything right now, but at the same time, he doesn't have eyes on his main army. 1, 2 Colossi go down.
Yeah, XY jumping straight on top of that army, doing whatever he can. He's going to go in with the Marauders, and this is his time to go. As soon as these force fields expire, he smells blood, but Cyan, he knows exactly what's going on. That Observer's so wonderfully placed there. He's going to be able to get out of there before any damage can befall him.
Yeah, exactly. Cyan, he smells his own blood in the water, mate. He knows to back the hell up. He has Disruptors on the way. He just has to buy a little bit more time. The Phoenixes, they dive on forward as well. Looks like they're going to be able to chip away at some of these units, but more importantly, just distract XY as Zelts get into the natural.
Yeah, he's dragging him this way and that way. 9 SCVs going down already. We see Archons being warped in. We see Disruptors as well. And there are no Ghosts on the horizon for XY. This is going to be the hardest defense for him. And with everything on the line right now.
Exactly, and Cyan's just getting further and further ahead, not just when it comes to his army, but he has the 4th base. He's even getting the gold base behind this. That's how much map control he has. That's how confident he is that he can contain XY here to these 3 bases. And now here come those Disruptors. Unfortunately, there are no libs. There's no way to really zone them out other than the tanks.
And as Artosis would say, went ahead, get further ahead, and Cyan is taking that to heart, getting the gold base, getting the DTs. He's going to try to get some damage with these Disruptors, and he does look to go, but he sees all the bios sitting there prepared, and honestly, there's no pressure on him to take this fight. He really doesn't have to do anything except to pressure and keep XY contained on these 3 bases.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see an influx of Stargates, for example, a Fleet Beacon to get ready to transition to Skytoss into carriers. Cyan can do whatever he wants right now. Instead, he's going to be headed towards DTs, a Dark Shrine. Interesting choice. Again, I mean, like, why not? You know, get every single tech structure you can, be as flexible as you can, whereas XY wants to break free.
Yeah, XY realizes that he's going to have to go for something here, but Cyan already warping into his natural, so he will be able to defend this, but at the same time, this is just keeping him at home when all he wants to be doing is getting across the map and trying to get some damage to get himself back into this game.
Yeah, and it's so difficult to do so, right? This drop was just scattered by Cyan as well. He has the Phoenixes, he has the map control, he has the air control. If that drop ever moves out across the map, Cyan will have eyes on it, and there's that transition we were looking for. +1 air attack, Fleet Beacon, and 2 more Stargates.
Yeah, Cyan has progressed so far along the tech tree of the Protoss. We do see this drop is going to be moving out for XY. There's some good vision here for Cyan, so he's going to be aware of this, and he is going to be able to recall some Colossus forces if he so chooses to, but it looks like he is going to try to keep a little bit of map presence on the other side to prevent XY from taking a 4th with this move.
Yeah, I mean, Cyan saw everything. He still has control of the watchtower. He has an observing position as well. Looks like XY is trying to break free. At the same time, Zealot Rambai is going to slip in towards that natural base here. There's not that much bio, but yeah, it looks like there is going to be enough here to clean up these Zealots. Not before they deal some economic damage, though.
Yeah, a lot of splash coming out from the tanks on the units of XY as well. And Cyan, he is happy to trade out this supply. He was getting close to max. He wants to free up some supply for this air transition. He's happy to pay with those Zealots, especially seeing as he has that gold base.
Yeah, exactly. The gold base now fully saturated up and running here. Another base being taken, a sixth base being taken here for Cyan. It's insane. We still don't see the initiation of the production of these carriers. Not yet. It looks like he's waiting for the opportune moment. He's waiting to get a little bit more, a couple more upgrades, waiting to have a more solid ground army.
Yeah, we see Cyan is going to be poking at the front here, but XY, he is ready for it. He has the whole army there. Some nice disruptions are going to be taking out the tanks, but a little bit of a wasteful fight to start off with from Cyan. XY is going to be pretty happy with these trades.
Yeah, exactly. A couple of disruptors go down. 2, 3 disruptors. And this is going to make the counterattack potential for XY that much stronger. Another 2 more disruptors go down.
Yeah, that is a lot of the tech units of Cyan going down all at once. We'll have to see if XY smells blood here if he wants to go across the map, but it looks like he is just going to keep those tanks sieged for the meantime. Try to establish this force, get himself back into this game slowly, methodically.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, that was a really good trade from XY, but I guess what's really hurting him is the fact that he's been running out of resources, that he doesn't have a bank, that his economy isn't amazing, so he's actually struggling to rebuild his army. He's still struggling to maintain his supply.
Yeah, and Cyan is absolutely painting this map blue. He has units everywhere. I love the way that he's ebbed and flowed with the little pushes from XY, just poking at the front, just trying to get little bits of damage here and there as he progresses down the tech tree. And while XY has taken some good trades towards the end of this last few minutes, it doesn't really count for much when there are so many carriers on the way.
Yeah, you say on the way, mate. The carriers are here. 3 carriers already popping out. We have +2 air attack. We have +1 air armor. Or sorry, +3. Sorry, this is actually +3 regular armor as well. Disruptors are coming on now, getting even more Novas off. And the Zealot's coming from behind.
Yeah, Zealot's coming in from behind there. The Disruptor's taking a lot of those tanks out here. The tank count of XY severely reduced here, and we can see the supply telling a story here. It's going to be so hard for XY to push out, to start to think about taking a 5th when there's all these Zealots coming in for Cyan, just picking away at these tanks. And Cyan, he's happy to take these bad trades because he knows that the economy of XY is hurting, and he has every base on the map almost.
Yeah, and I don't even know if I want to call them bad trades at this point because Cyan may not even need his Skytoss. He may not even need the carriers to end the game right now. XY is struggling. He's plummeting even further in supply, losing more and more of these tanks. He's trying to replenish them as quickly as possible, but these Zealots, these disruptor shots, they've just been insane.
Yeah, we have a little bit of a campaign survival mission here as time after time we're seeing those 12 Zealots going in, and he's just going to jump on top of this base now, and nice force fields as well, going to trap those units in with the disruptor shots.
Yeah, exactly. The Novas, they go off on the army at the same time. The carriers have finally revealed themselves here in the pocket base, and there's just not enough anti-air to respond to either of these armies.
Yeah, XY, he is fighting for his tournament life. He does not want to give up here. He's going to fight to the last unit. But these Zealots with the 3-3, they are so hard to take down.
Ooh, they really are. More Novas go off. GG gets called, and Cyan takes the series 2-1.